Hello bearded bee people, welcome back to the B&K's Bees channel for another episode of Random Inspection Friday. This is a Buckfast breeder that my buddy Dan O'Hanlon at Mountain State Queens gave me. They've been doing really well. They've only really been about around here since, I think I have it written down, since, let's see, June 30th. June 30th I set them right here. Could have added another box and probably gotten some honey from them, but I pulled frames of brood for mating nukes. So even with that setting them back, this hive is really heavy, but how heavy is the question, because I'm running low on sugar, running low on funds, and I want to know exactly how many hives I have to feed, and I want to know a relatively specific level of the amount of feed each hive needs. So that's the goal for this inspection, for this Random Inspection Friday. It's September 13th, so it is angry bee season. So I might have to run over to the other side of the yard and get my veil before the end of this video. Especially if this stuff is all stuck together like I expect it to be. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab a few extra deep drawn frames because those aren't drawn and there's still goldenrod coming in. Okay, I'm going to set these aside because I'm going to go through the, at least look into the bottom box first before I go into this top one. Okay. These bees built up so quickly. This Buckfast line is really crazy. We made a couple daughters of her this year already, and oh man, that's heavy. We made a couple daughters of her already. The cool thing was the daughters were in. They got mated at about the same time as some of our other bees and some of our other queens, and just took off. I mean, just took off out of the gate, blew the other ones out of the water. And that being said, they don't have the other traits that the other ones do, but that's the benefit of having them in the same yard. You know, we're gonna make a lot of daughters of these Buckfast next year. Give them all drone frames, and hope that our Mary Ellen virgins go out and get mated with these Buckfasts and get some of their characteristics, because that's really good. Alright, that's honey. These bees don't like me now. I'm getting stung. Bee bread, honey on the sides, same thing. More bee bread. Oh, I guess I should show you. You have honey on the outsides. Honey on the outsides. Bee bread through the middle. The next one's brood, I can see that. But it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for brood. And these are winter bees that need to be hatched now. Oh my goodness. Nice. Very, very nice, Brett. Okay. These bees are acting crazy because I just dropped them. That's a good patch of brood. Similar, they're backfilling some of those empty cells with nectar. Trying to keep an eye in the front of the hive for if I may have sprayed the queen somewhere. Man, that was stupid. This is my Buckfast breeder too. Another good looking brood frame. That's not backfilled with nectar, that's eggs and young larvae. Mostly capped brood. Some emerging. I don't see the queen. Boy, that would make me happy to see her though. Alright, this is all full of eggs. Got a little bit of honey up toward the top. Some capped brood, mostly empty and full of eggs and young larvae. It's good, good, good. Decent amount of honey right there. Cool, cool, cool. Wow, the temperament of these bees, pretty good. Getting dropped and there's yellow jackets all over the place. And I'm not getting paid too much attention, really. Not as much as you'd think I'd be getting paid after that smooth move of mine. Okay, mostly honey, a little bit of capped brood. It's not a completely drawn out frame. And then the rest is honey. Honey, honey, honey. So I'm going to put this box back together and pull a couple out of the top. Well, there's a lot of bees in this hive, that's for sure. I think I've said it before, it doesn't take a large hive to overwinter in a tough climate. But if you can make sure that that big hive is healthy and a lot of those bees are nurse bees rather than being a hive chock full of summer bees, then you have obviously a very, very good chance of overwintering. So I have high hopes for this hive. Okay, everybody settle down. I tried to swirl that box around so I didn't squish very many. It's tough to swirl a 60 or 70 pound box. Okay, so these are going to come out. I thought I did that to all these hives like almost 2 weeks ago, but obviously I didn't do this one. It is something good to keep in mind though. If you have the drawn equipment, you know, mid-August rolls around, other than the goldenrod flow here in Michigan, your build-up period is pretty much over as far as wax production goes. So you take out all the foundation and give them everything that you have drawn, even if you have medium frames, put into a deep box. It's better than blank foundation in the winter. So yeah, I have a couple of deep, freshly extracted frames to give them here. That's a full frame of honey there. Here's a good sign of what happens during the fall. They emerge and leave an empty cell, and the bees come back through and fill her up. I have a little patch of brood down here. Everything else is honey. A little patch of brood there. That one's a little bit bigger. Everything else is honey. This is getting capped, as you can see. Somebody left the job early. Said, good enough for government work. Alright, I think one more frame. One more frame and then I'm done messing with these girls for the day. I'd say this looks pretty good. I wish I'd seen more brood, but I guess that's to be expected. Once again, that's why our, young queen introduction in early fall, I think, is such a good idea, because you don't see this early reduction in brood. You see a big buildup all throughout the fall of winter bees. But as I said, that this is a big old patch of brood. Come on, focus. There you go. See some larvae in there. Cool. Cool, homie. Alright, that's all I have to see. Just another big old patch of cap brood. Almost full frame. Very cool, very cool. So, you know, when people ask me, hey, what kind of bees are these? I don't tend to usually give them any type of answer other than it's impossible to say. They're mutts. Queens mate with many drones. It's impossible without instrumental insemination to produce a pure line of bees, blah, 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 because that all makes very much sense and it's all very true. But that doesn't mean that there aren't characteristics that are being bred in particular breeding programs. Whether you can draw a direct line of lineage from what those breeding programs started off with and what they have now is a different thing. But I don't think that they're worried so much about direct lines of, you know, ancestry. I think it's more the honing and increasing of desirable characteristics. And those Buckfast bees, these particular Buckfast bees, do everything you'd expect from reading about Buckfast bees on the internet. They lay incredible laying patterns. They build up incredibly quickly. They put on a lot of honey in a short period of time. And they're pretty gentle. I mean, we put that to the test today, obviously. So I'm very, very pleased. And like I said, I'm going to make a lot of daughters next year and give them all drone frames. Checking out on the front again to make sure I didn't fling that queen somewhere. Because what a tragedy that would be. Alright. Close them up. Got one in my beard. Any other bearded bee people out there ever get bees in your beard that can't get out? And you're just waiting for them to either get out or sting you in the throat. If you have similar experiences, let me know in the comments. Oh, get out from underneath that. Go home, you're drunk. Alright. If you like this video, click like please. It will help YouTube send the video out to more beekeepers that'll hopefully like it as well. Tune in next week for another episode of Random Inspection Friday. Get out and have some fun with your bees.